Act 1, Scene 6 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 1, Scene 6. Brilliantly lighted halls. Emperor and Princess. The court in movement. Chamberlain to Mephistopheles.
The spirit scene you've promised, still you owe us. Our lord's impatient, come, the phantasm show us.
Lord High Steward.
Just now his gracious self did question me. Delay not, nor offend his majesty.
My comrade's gone to set the work in motion. How to begin he has the proper notion. In secret he the charms must cull, must labour with a fervour tragic. Who would that treasure lift, the beautiful, requires the highest art, the sage's magic.
What arts you need is all the same to me. The emperor wills that you should ready be.
A blonde to Mephistopheles.
One word, sir. Here you see a visage fair. In sorry summer I another wear. There sprout 100 brown and reddish freckles, and vex my lily skin with ugly speckles. A cure.
'Tis pity, shining fair, yet smitten, spotted when May comes like a panther kitten. Take frog spawn, tongues of toads, which cohobate, under the full moon deftly distillate, and when it wanes apply the mixture. Next spring the spots will be no more a fixture.
A brunette.
To sponge upon you, what a crowd's advancing! I beg a remedy. A frozen foot annoys me much, in walking as in dancing, and awkwardly I manage to salute.
A gentle kick permit then from my foot.
Well, that might happen, when the two are lovers.
My kick a more important meaning covers. Similia similibus, when one is sick, the foot cures foot, each limb its hurt can palliate. Come near, take heed, and pray you don't retaliate.
The brunette screaming.
Ow! Oh, it stings! That was a fearful kick, like hoof of horse.
But it has cured you, quick! To dance where'er you please, you now are able to press your lover's foot beneath the table.
Lady pressing forwards.
Make room for me, too great is my affliction, my tortures worse than those described in fiction. His bliss till yesterday was in my glances, but how he turns his back and spins with her romances.
The matter's grave, but listen unto me. Draw near to him with gentle soft advances, then take this call and mark him stealthily on mantle, shoulder, sleeve. Though ne'er so slight, yet penitent at once his heart will be. The call thereafter you must straightway swallow, and let no sip of wine or water follow. He'll sigh before your door this very night.
It is not poison, sure?
Mephistopheles offended.
Respect where it is due. To get such calls you'd travel many a mile. There from the embers of a funeral pile, the fires whereof we once more hotly blew.
Page.
I love, yet still am counted adolescent.
Mephistopheles aside.
I know not whom to listen to at present.
To the page.
Let not the younger girls thy fancies fetter. Those well in years know how to prize thee better.
Others crowd around him.
Already others? 'Tis a trial, sooth. I'll help myself at last, with naked truth, the worst device. So great my misery. Mothers, mothers, let but Faust go free.
Gazing around him.
The lights are burning dimly in the hall. The court is moving onward, one and all. I see them march, according to degrees, Through long arcades and distant galleries. Now they assemble in the ample space Of the knight's hall, yet hardly all find place. The breadth of walls is hung with arras rich, And armour gleams from every nook and niche. Here, I should think, there needs no magic word, The ghost will come, and of their own accord.
End of Act 1, Scene 6. Scene 7 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 1, Scene 7. Hall of the Knights, dimly lighted. The Emperor and Court have entered.
Mine ancient office to proclaim the action is by the spirit's secret influence thwarted. One tries in vain, such wildering distraction can't be explained or reasonably reported. The chairs are ranged, the seats are ready all. The emperor sits, fronting the lofty wall, where on the tapestry the battles he of the great era may with comfort see. Here now are all, prince, court, and their belonging, benches on benches in the background thronging, and lovers too in these dim hours enchanted, beside their loved ones lovingly are planted. And now, since all have found convenient places, we're ready. Let the spirits show their faces.
Trumpets.
Astrologer.
Begin the drama. 'Tis the sire's command. Ye walls, be severed straightway, and expand. Naught hinders? Magic answers our desire. The arras flies are shrivelled up by fire. The walls are split, unfolded. In the gloom, a theatre appears to be created. By mystic light are we illuminated, and I ascend to the proscenium.
Mephistopheles, rising to view in the prompter's box.
I hope to win as prompter general glory, for prompting is the devil's oratory.
To the astrologer.
Thou know'st the tune and time the stars that lead, thou wilt my whispers like master heed.
By power miraculous, we here behold a massive temple of the days of old. Like Atlas, who erewhile the heavens upbore, the serried columns stand, an ample store. Well may they for the weight of stone suffice, since two might bear a mighty edifice.
Architect.
That the antique? As fine it can't be rated. I'd sooner style it awkward, overweighted. Coarse is called noble, and unwieldy grand. Give me the slender shafts that soar, expand. To lift the mind, a pointed arch may boast. Such architecture edifies us most.
Receive with reverence the star-granted hours. Let magic words bind reason's restless powers, but in return unbind, to circle free, the wings of splendid, daring fantasy. What you have boldly wished, see now achieved. Impossible 'tis, therefore to be believed.
Faust rises to view on the other side of proscenium.
In priestly surplice, crowned, a marvellous man, he now fulfills what he in faith began. With him a tripod from the gulf comes up. I send the incense orders from the cup. He arms himself, the work to consecrate, and henceforth it can be but fortunate.
Faust sublimely.
Ye mothers, in your name, who set your throne in boundless space eternally alone, and yet companioned, all the forms of being, in movement lifeless ye are round you seeing. Whate'er once was, there burns and brightens free, in splendour, for 'twould fain eternal be, and ye allot it, with all-potent might, to day's pavilions and the vaults of night. Life seizes some along his gracious course, others arrests the bold magician's force, and he, bestowing as his faith inspires, displays the marvellous that each desires.
The glowing key has scarcely touched the cup, and lo, through all the space a mist rolls up. It creeps about, and like a cloudy train, spreads, rounding, narrowing, parting, closed again. And now, behold a spirit masterpiece! Music is born from every wandering fleece. The tones of air, I know not how they flow, wherever they move all things melodies grow. The pillared shaft, the triglyph even rings, I think, indeed, the whole bright temple sings. The vapours settle as the light film clears, the beauteous youth, with rhythmic step, appears. Here ends my task, his name I need not tell. Who doth not know the gentle Paris well?
Lady.
Oh, what a youthful bloom and strength I see!
A second lady.
Fresh as a peach, and full of juice is he.
A third lady.
The finely drawn, the sweetly swelling lip.
A fourth lady.
From such a cup no doubt you'd like to sip.
A fifth lady.
He's handsome, if a little unrefined.
A sixth lady.
He might be somewhat gracefuller, to my mind.
Knight.
The shepherd I detect. I find him wearing no traces of the prince or courtly bearing.
Knight 2.
Oh yes, half naked is the youth, not bad, but let us see him first in armour clad.
He seats himself with such a gentle grace.
You'd find his lap, perchance, a pleasant place.
He lifts his arm so lightly over his head.
Tamburlaine.
'Tis not allowed. How thoroughly ill-bred.
Your lord find fault with all things evermore.
To stretch and yawn before the emperor?
He only acts. He think he's quite alone.
Even the play should be politely shown.
Now sleep falls on the graceful youth so sweetly.
Now will he snore. 'Tis natural, completely.
Young lady.
Mixed with the incense steam, what odour precious steals to my bosom and my heart refreshes.
Older lady.
Forsooth, it penetrates and warms the feeling. It comes from him.
Oldest lady.
His flower of youth unsealing. It is youth's fine ambrosia ripe, unfading, the atmosphere around his form pervading.
Helena comes forward.
So that is she? My sleep she would not waste. She's pretty, truly, but she's not my taste.
There is nothing more for me to do, I trow. As man of honour, I confess it now. The beauty comes, and add I tongues of fire. So many songs did beauty ever inspire. Who sees her, of his wits is dispossessed, and who possessed her was too highly blessed.
Have I still eyes? Deep in my being springs the fount of beauty, in a torrent pouring. Heavenly gain my path a terror brings. The world was void and shut to my exploring. And, since my priesthood, how hath it been graced! Enduring 'tis, desirable, firm based. And let my breath of being blow to waste, if I for thee unlearn my sacred duty. The form that long erewhile my fancy captured, that from the magic mirror so enraptured, was but a frothy phantom of such beauty. 'Tis thou, to whom the stir of all my forces, the essence of my passions courses, love, fancy, worship, madness, here I render.
Mephistopheles from the box.
Be calm. You'll lose your rôle to be so tender.
Tall and well formed, too small the head alone.
Just see her foot, a heavier never was shown.
Diplomatist.
Princess of her style I've often seen. From head to foot she's beautiful, I ween.
Courtier.
She near the sleeper steals, so soft and sly.
How ugly ne'er that youthful purity!
Poet.
Her beauty's light is on him like a dawn.
Endymion and Luna, as they're drawn.
Quite right. The yielding goddess seems to sink, and o'er him bend, his balmy breath to drink. Enviable fate, a kiss, the cup is full.
Duenna.
Before all people, that is more than cool.
A fearful favour to the boy.
Be still, suffer the shade to do whatever it will.
She slips away light-footed. He awakes.
Just as I thought, another look she takes.
He stares. What haps to him a marvel is.
But none to her what she before her sees.
She turns around to him with dignity.
I see she means to put him through his paces. All men in such a case act stupidly. Then too he thinks that first he's won her graces.
Majestically fine. She pleases me.
The courtesan! How very vulgar she!
Just where he is where I'd like to be.
Who would not fain be caught in such sweet meshes?
Through many a hand hath passed that jewel precious. The gilding too is for the most part gone.
She has been worthless from her 10th year on.
Each takes the best that chance for him obtains. I'd be contented with these fair remains.
A learned man.
I freely doubt, though I distinctly see, 'tis doubtful if the genuine one she be. The present leads us to exaggeration, and I hold fast the written old relation. I read that, truly, ere her bloom was blighted, the Trojan greybeards greatly she delighted. And here, methinks, it tallies perfectly. I am not young, yet she delighteth me.
No more a boy, a bold, heroic form. He clasps her, who can scarce resist the storm. With arm grown strong he lifts her high and free. Means he to bear her off?
Rash fool, let be! Thou darst? Thou hurst not? Hold! I'll be obeyed.
The spectral drama thou thyself hast made.
A word more. After all we have seen today, I call the piece the rape of Helena.
What? Rape? Am I for nothing here? To stead me, is not this key still shining in my hand? Through realms of terror, wastes and waves it led me, through solitudes to where I firmly stand. Here foothold is, reality's here centre. The strife with spirits here the mind may venture, and on its grand its double lordship enter. How far she was, and nearer how divine! I'll rescue her and make her doubly mine. Ye mothers, mothers, crown this wild endeavour. Who knows her once must hold her, and for ever.
What art thou doing, Faust? Oh, look at him! He seizes her, the form is growing dim. He turns the key against the youth, and, lo, it touches him. Woe's me! Away now, woe on woe!
Explosion. Faust lies upon the earth. The spirits dissolve in vapour. Mephistopheles, taking Faust upon his shoulders.
You have it now. Oneself with fools to hamper, at last even on the devil puts a damper.
Darkness. Tumult. End of Act 1, Scene 7. Scene 1 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act II, Scene 1. A high-arched, narrow, Gothic chamber, formerly Faust's, unchanged. Mephistopheles, coming forth from behind a curtain. While he holds it up and looks behind him, Faust is seen lying stretched out upon an antiquated bed.
Lie there, ill-starred, seduced, unwise, to bonds that surely hold the lover, whom Helena shall paralyze, not soon his reason shall recover.
Looking around him.
I look about, and through the glimmer, unchanged, uninjured, all appears. The coloured window panes, methinks, are dimmer, the cobwebs have increased with years. The ink is dry, the paper old and brown, but each thing in its place I find. Even the quill is here laid down, wherewith his compact with the devil he signed. Yea, deeper in, the barrel's red with trace of blood I coaxed him then to shed. A thing so totally unique the great collectors would go far to seek. Half from its hook the old fur robe is falling, that ancient joke of mine recalling, how once I taught the boy such truth as still, it may be, nourishes the youth. The wish returns with zest acuter, aided by thee, thou rough disguise, once more to take on airs as college tutor, as one infallible in one's own eyes. The savants this assurance know, the devil lost it long ago.
He shakes the fur which he has taken down. Moths, crickets, and beetles fly out.
Welcome and hail to thee, patron, today. We're flying and humming, we hear and obey. Singly and silently, us thou hast sown. Hither by thousands, Father, we've flown. The imp in the bosom is snugly concealed, but lice in the fur coat are sooner revealed.
What glad surprise I feel from this young life bestowed! One reaps in time if one has only sowed. Once more I'll shake the ancient fleeces out, still here and there a chance one flies about. Off and around, aye, in 100,000 nooks hasten to hide yourselves, among the books, there in the pasteboard's wormy holes, here in the smoky parchment scrolls, in dusty jars that broken lie, and yonder skull with empty eye. In all this trash and mould unmatched, crotchets for ever must be hatched.
He puts on the fur mantle.
Come, once again upon my shoulders fall. Once more am I the principal. But 'tis no good to ape the college, for where are those who will my claim acknowledge?
He pulls the bell, which gives out a shrill, penetrating sound, causing the halls to tremble and the doors to fly open. Famulus, tottering hither down the long, dark gallery.
What a sound! What dreadful quaking! Stairs are rocking, walls are shaking. Through the coloured windows brightening, I behold the sudden lightning. Floors above me crack and tremble, lime and lumber round me tumble, and the door, securely bolted, is by magic force enfolded. There, how terrible! A giant stands in Faust's old fur, defiant as he looks, and beckons thither. I could fall, my senses wither. Shall I fly or shall I wait? What, oh, what shall be my fate?
Mephistopheles, beckoning.
Come hither, friend. Your name is Nicodemus.
Most honoured sir, such is my name, Oremus.
Dispense with that.
Oh joy, you know me yet.
Old, and a student still? I don't forget, most mossy sir. Also a learned man continues study, since naught else he can. 'Tis thus one builds a moderate house of cards. The greatest minds ne'er end them afterwards. Your master is a skilful fellow, though. The noble Doctor Wagner all must know. The first in all the learned world is he, who now together holds it potently. Wisdom increasing, daily making clearer, how thirst for knowledge listener and hearer! A mighty crowd around him flocks, none for the rostrum e'er were meeter. The keys he holds as doth St. Peter. The under and the upper he unlocks. His light above all others sparkles surer. No name or fame beside him lives. Even that of Faust has grown obscurer. 'Tis he alone invents and gives.
Pardon, most honoured sir, if I am daring to contradict you in declaring all that upon the subject has no bearing. For modesty he sees a lot apart, the incomprehensible disappearing of that great man to him is most uncheering. From his return he hopes new strength and joy of heart, as in the days of Dr. Faust, to whom, since he's away, all things unchanged, waits for his master long estranged, to venture in. I scarce presume what stars must govern now the sky. It seemed as if the basement quivered, the door-posts trembled, bolts were shivered. You had not entered otherwise.
Where may his present dwelling be? Lead me to him, bring him to me.
His prohibition is so keen, I do not dare to intervene. For months his time unto the great work giving, in most secluded silence he is living. The daintiest of distinguished learners, his face is like a charcoal burner's, from nose to ears, all black and deadened. His eyes from glowing flames are reddened. Thus he each moment pants and longs, and music make the clattering tongues.
At entrance why should he deny me? I'll expedite his luck, if he'll but try me.
The famulus goes off. Mephistopheles seats himself with gravity.
Scarce have I taken my position here, when there, behind, I see a guest appear. I know him. He is of the school new founded, and his presumption will be quite unbounded.
Baccalaureus, storming along the corridor.
Doors and entrances are open. Well, at last there's grounds for hoping, that no more in mouldy lumber death-like doth the living slumber, to himself privations giving, till he dies of very living. All this masonry, I'm thinking, to its overthrow is sinking, and unless at once we hurry, us will crash and ruin bury. Daring though I be, 'twere murther, should I dare to venture further. What is that I see before me? Here, what years have rolled o'er me? Shy and unsophisticated, I as honest freshman waited. Here I let the greybeards guide me, here their babble edified me. Out of dry old volumes preaching, what they knew they lied in teaching. What they knew themselves believed not, stealing life that years retrieve not. What in yonder cell benighted, one still sits, obscurely lighted. Nearer now I see astounded, sits he still, with furs surrounded. Truly as I saw him last, roughest fleeces round him cast. Then adroit he seemed to be, not yet understood by me, but today will not avail him. Oh, I'll neither fear nor fail him. If ancient sir, that bald head sideways bending, hath not been dipped in Letty's river cold, see hitherward your grateful scholar wending. Outgrown the academic rods of old, you're here as then when I began, but I am now another man.
I'm glad, my belle, your visit brought me. Your talents then I rated high. The worm, the chrysalid, soon taught me the future brilliant butterfly. Your curly locks and ruffle laces a childish pleasure gave. You wooed the graces. A queue, I think, you've never worn? But now your head is cropped and shorn. Quite bold and resolute you appear, but don't go, absolute, home from here.
Old master in your old place leaning, Think how the time is sped the while. Spare me your words of double meaning, we take them now in quite another style. You teased and vexed the honest youth, you found it easy then, in truth, to do what no one dares to-day.
If to the young the simple truth we say, the green ones find it nowise pleasant play. But afterwards, when years are over, and they the truth through their own hide discover, then they conceive themselves have found it out. The master was a fool, one hears them shout.
A rogue perhaps, what teacher will declare the truth to us exactly fair and square? Each knows the way to lessen or exceed it, now stem, now lively, as the children need it.
Beyond a doubt, there is a time to learn, but you are skilled to teach, I now discern. Since many a moon, some circles of the sun, the riches of experience you have won.
Experience mist and froth alone, nor with the mind at all co-equal. Confess what one has always known, it's not worth knowing in the sequel.
Mephistopheles, after a pause.
It's long seemed so to me. I was a fool, my shallowness I now must ridicule.
I'm glad of that, I hear some reason yet, the first old man of sense I've ever met.
I sought for hidden treasures grand and golden, and hideous coals and ashes were my share.
Confess that now your skull, though bald and olden, is worth no more than yon empty there.
Mephistopheles, amiably.
Know'st thou, my friend, how rude thou art to me?
One lies in German, would one courteous be?
Mephistopheles, wheeling his chair still nearer to the proscenium, to the spectators.
Up here am I deprived of light and air. Shall I find shelter down among you there?
It is presumptuous that one will try still to be something when the time's gone by. Man's life lives in his blood, and where in sooth so stirs the blood as in the veins of youth, there living blood as freshest power pulsates, and newer life from its own life creates. Then something's done, then moves and works the man. The weak fall out, the sturdy take the van. While half the world beneath our yoke is brought, what then have you accomplished, nodded, thought, dreamed and considered, plan and always plan? Age is an ague fever, it is clear, with chills of moody want and dread, when one has passed his 30th year. One then is just the same as dead. 'Twere best betimes to put you out o' the way.
The devil here has nothing more to say.
Save through my will, no devil can there be.
Mephistopheles, aside.
The devil, though, will trip thee presently.
This is use noblest calling and most fit. The world was not ere I created it. The sun drew from out the orient sea. The moon began her changeful course with me. The day put on his shining robes to greet me. The earth grew green and burst in flowers to meet me. And when I beckoned from the primal night, the stars unveiled their splendors to my sight. Who saved myself to you deliverance brought from commonplace of restricted thought. I, proud and free, even as dictates my mind, follow with joy the inward light I find, and speed along in mine own ecstasy, darkness behind, the glory leading me.
Exit.
Go hence, magnificent original. What grief on thee would insight cast? Who can think wise or stupid things at all, that were not thought already in the past? Yet even from him we're not in special peril. He will, ere long, to other thoughts incline. The must may foam absurdly in the barrel, Nathless it turns at last to wine.
To the younger parterre, which does not applaud.
My words, I see, have left you cold. For you, my children, it may fall so. Consider now the devil's old. To understand him, be old also.
End of Act 2, Scene 1. Scene 2 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. Translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 2. Laboratory. After the manner of the Middle Ages, extensive, ponderous apparatus for fantastic purposes. Wagner at the furnace.
The loud bell chimes with fearful clangory. The sooty walls feel the vibration. Soon must the long suspense be ended of my most earnest expectation. It shines. The darknesses are rended. Within the fire's inmost chamber it gleams as doth a living ember. Yea, a carbuncle, burning, brightening. It raised the darkness with its lightning. Now white and clear the lustres blend, that I hold nor lose it more. Ah, God, what rattles at the door?
Mephistopheles entering.
Welcome. I meant it as a friend.
Anxiously.
Be welcome to the planet of the hour.
Whispering.
Yet breath and speech suspend. A work of power, a splendid work will soon be here displayed.
What is it then?
A man is being made.
A man? And what enamoured pair have you within the chimney hidden?
Nay, God forbid. This procreation is most rare. Of the old senseless mode we are now well ridden. The tender point, whence life commenced its course, the outward stress of gracious inward force, which took and gave, itself delineating, first near, then foreign traits assimilating, we now of all its dignity divest. The beast therein may further find a zest, but man must learn, with his great gifts, to win henceforth a purer, loftier origin.
Turning towards the furnace.
It brightens, see! Sure now my hopes increase, that if from many hundred substances, through mixture, since on mixture all depends, the human substance gently be compounded, and by a closed retort surrounded, distilled and fed and slowly founded, then in success the secret labor ends.
Again turning towards the furnace.
'Twill be. The mass is working clearer. Conviction gathers, truer, nearer. The mystery which for man in nature lies, we dare to test, by knowledge led. And that which she was wont to organize, we crystallize instead.
Who lives, learns many secrets to unravel. For him upon this earth there's nothing new can be. I've seen already in my years of travel much crystallized humanity.
Wagner, up to this time continuously attentive to the file.
It mounts, it lightens, grows. 'Tis one. A moment more and it is done. Insane at first appears a great intent. We yet shall laugh at chance in generation. A brain like this, for genuine thinking meant, will henceforth be a thinker's sure creation.
Rapturously inspecting the file.
The glass vibrates with sweet and powerful tone. It darkens, clears. It must arrive at being. And now in delicate shape is shown a pretty mannequin, moving, living, seeing. What more can we, what more the world demand? the secret solved all men may reach. Hark! As the ringing tones expand, they form a voice, result in speech.
Homunculus, in the file, to Wagner.
How goes it, Daddy? It was then no jest. Come, press me tenderly upon thy breast, but not too hard, for fear the glass might shatter. This is the quality of matter. For what is natural scarce the world has place. What's artificial needs restricted space.
To Mephistopheles.
Thou rogue, Sir Cousin, here I find thee too. And at the proper time my thanks are due. At lucky fortune led thee here to me. Since I exist, then I must active be. I'd fain begin my work without delay. Thou art adroit in shortening my way.
But first a word. I'm shamed that answers fail me, for old and young with problems so assail me. Now, for example, none e'er comprehended how soul and body wedded are and blended. Hold fast, as if defying separation, yet never cease their mutual irritation. Therefore—
Desist! I'd rather ask him why the man and wife agree so wretchedly. To thee, my friend, the thing will ne'er be clear. There's work to do, for that the little fellow's here.
What's to be done?
Pointing to a side door.
Thy talents here employ.
Still gazing at the file.
Forsooth, thou art the very loveliest boy.
The side door opens. Faust is seen stretched out upon a couch. Astonished.
Significant.
The file slips out of Wagner's hands, hovers over Faust, and shines upon him.
Fair scenery. Waters moving in forest shadows. Women there undressing the loveliest forms. The picture is improving. One marked by beauty, splendidly expressing descent from gods or high heroic races, now dips her foot in the translucent shimmer. The living flame of her sweet form displaces the yielding crystal, cool around the swimmer. But now what a sound of wings, what rapid dashing across the glassy pool, what fluttering, splashing! The maidens fly, alarmed, but only she. The queen looks on composed, and terror-free, and sees with proud and womanly delight the swan prince press her knee with plumage white. Importunately tame, he grows acquainted, but all at once floats up a vapor pale, and covers with its closely woven veil the loveliest picture ever dreamed or painted.
How much hast thou to tell? What stories merry! So small thou art, so great a visionary. Nothing see I.
Of course, thou from the north, and in the age of mist brought forth in knighthood's and priestcraft's murky den. How should thy sight be clearer then? In gloom alone art thou at home.
Gazing around.
Brown masonry, repellent, crumbling slowly, arch-pointed finical, fantastic lowly. If this man wakes, another danger's nigh. At once upon the spot he'll die. Wood fountains, swans, and naked beauties, such was his dream of presage fair. How should these dark surroundings suit his desires, when them I scarce can bear? Away with him.
I hail the issue's chances.
Command the warriors to fight, conduct the maidens to the dances, and all is finished, as is right. Just now there breaks on me a light. 'Tis classical Walpurgis night. Whatever may come, it is the best event, so bring him to his proper element.
The like of that I never heard one mention.
How should it have attracted your attention? Only romantic ghosts are known to you. A genuine phantom must be classic too.
But whitherward shall then we travel? Tell me. Your antique cronies in advance repel me.
Northwestward Satan is thy park and pale, but we this time southeastward sail. Peneus, there the great plains wander through. By thickets, groves, and silent coves and meadow grasses, the level stretches to the mountain passes, and o'er it lies Pharsalus old and new.
Alas, have done! Bring not that fell collision of tyrant and of slave before my vision. I'm tired of that. For scarcely is it done than they the same thing have again begun. And no one marks that he's the puppet blind of sly Asmodi lurking there behind. They fight, we're told their freedom's right to save, but clearlier seen 'tis slave that fights with slave.
Leave on to me the fractiousness and clatter. Each must protect himself as best he can, from boyhood up, and thus becomes a man. How this one shall recover is our matter. Hast thou a method, let it be tested. But hast thou none, so leave the case to me.
There's many a brocken method I might try, But pagan bolts, I find, the way deny. The Grecian race was little worth alway. It dazzles with the senses' freer play. To cheerful sins the heart of man entices, While ours are ever counted gloomy vices. Now, what shall be?
Shyness was ne'er the blame, when I to thee Thessalian witches name. I've not said nothing that I know.
Lustfully.
Thessalian witches! Well, the persons those, whom I inquired for long ago. Night after night beside them to repose, I think would hardly suit. But so, a mere espial, trial.
Here, Castor, the knight your magic mantle, and enfold him. The rag will still, and heretofore upon the airy course, and thine, uphold him. I'll light the way.
Anxiously.
And I?
You will stay at home, most weighty work to do. Unfold your ancient parchments and collect life's elements as your recipes direct. One to the other with due caution fitting, the what, consider more the how and why. Meanwhile about the world at random flitting, I may detect the dot upon the I. A lofty aim will then accomplished be. Such an endeavor merits such requital. Gold, honor, glory, healthy forces vital. And science too, and virtue, possibly. Farewell.
Sorrowfully.
Farewell, it doth depress my heart. I fear already we forever part.
Down to Peneus with his aid. Sir Cousin is a deft attendant.
Ad spectatores.
Upon the creatures we have made we are ourselves at last dependent.
End of Act 2, Scene 2. Scene 3 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 3, Classical Walpurgis Night. 1. The Pharsalian Fields. Darkness.
Erichtho.
To this night's awful festival, as oft before, I entered here, Erichtho, I, the gloomy one, not so atrocious as the evil poets draw, in most superfluous slander, for they never cease their blames or praises. Over whitened I behold the vale, with waves of tents that glimmer grey afar, the after vision of that fatal, fearful night. How oft is it repeated, will forever be, forever re-enacted. No one grants the realm unto another, unto him whose might achieved and rules it, none. For each, incompetent to rule his own internal self, is all too fain to sway his neighbour's will, even as his haughty mind inclines. But here a lesson grand was battle to the end, how force resists and grapples with the greater force. The lovely, thousand-bloomed breath of freedom rends, and bends the stubborn laurel round the ruler's brow. Here, of his days of early greatness, Pompey dreamed, before the trembling balance Caesar yonder watched. It will be weighed, the world knows unto whom it turned. The watch-fires flash and glow, spendthrift of ruddy flame, reflections of the squandered blood the earth exhales. And, lured by rare and marvellous splendor of the night, the legion of Hellenic legends gathers here. Round all the fires uncertain hover, or at ease sit near them, fabulous forms of ancient days. The moon, imperfect, truly, but of clearest beam, arises, scattering mellow radiance everywhere. Vanish the phantom tents, the fires are burning blue. But over my head what unexpected meteor! It shines, illuminates the sphere of earth below. I scent the living, therefore it becomes me not them to approach. I being harmful unto them, an evil name it brings me, and it profits not. Already now it sinks. Discreetly I withdraw.
Exit. The airy travellers above.
Once again the circle follow, o'er the flames and horrors hover. Ghostly 'tis in vale and hollow, spectral all that we discover.
If as through my window nightly in the gruesome north I see spectres hideous and unsightly, here is home as there to me.
See, a tall one there is striding on before us in the shade.
Through the air she saw us gliding, and it seems she is afraid.
Let her stride, the night be taken now, and set upon the strand. Here to life again he'll waken, seeking it in fable land.
Faust, as he touches the earth.
Where is she?
It's more than we can tell, but to inquire would here be well. Thou art free to hasten ere the day, from flame to flame, and seek her so. Who to the mother's found his way, has nothing more to undergo.
I also claim my share in the excursion, yet know no better plan for our diversion than that each one amid these fires should seek such fortunes as he most desires. Then, as a sign to reunite us, let, little one, thy lantern sound and light us.
Thus shall it shine, and thus shall ring.
The glass shines and rings powerfully.
And now away to many a marvellous thing.
Faust, solus.
Where is she? But no further question make. If this were not the soil that bore her feet, if not the wave that to her coming beat, yet 'tis the air that knows the tongue she spake. Here, by a marvel, here on Grecian land, I felt at once the earth whereon I stand. Through me, the sleeper, fresher spirit stealing, I rise refreshed, and Taeus in my feeling. Together here I find the strangest store. Let me this labyrinth of flames explore.
Goes away. Mephistopheles prying around.
And as among these fires I wander, aimless, I find myself so strange, so disconcerted. Quite naked most, a few are only shirted, the griffins insolent, the sphinxes shameless. And what not all, with pinions and with tresses, before, behind, upon one's eyesight presses. Indecency, 'tis true, is our ideal, but the antique is too alive and real. One must with modern thought the thing bemaster, and in the fashion variously o'erplaster. Disgusting race! Yet I, perforce, must meet them, and, as new guests with due decorum, greet them. Hail then, fair ladies, greybeards wise, good cheer!
Griffin, snarling.
Not greybeards. Greybeards? No one likes to hear one call him grey. For in each word there rings the source, wherefrom its derivation springs. Grey, growling, gruesome, grinning graves, and grimly etymologically accord, nor dimly and make us grim.
And yet, why need you stiffen? You like the griff in your proud title, Griffin.
Griffin, as above, and continuously so.
Of course, for this relation is found fit, though often censored, often appraised with it. Let one grip at maidens grow and gold. Fortune is gracious to the griper bold.
Aunts of the colossal kind.
You speak of gold, much had ourselves collected. In rocks and caverns secretly we trapped it. The Arimaspian race our store detected. They're laughing now, so far away they've snapped it.
We soon shall force them to confess.
The Arimaspians.
But not in this free night of jubilee. Before the morrow all will squandered be. This time our efforts will obtain success.
Mephistopheles, who has seated himself between the sphinxes.
How soon I feel familiar here among you. I understand you, one and all.
Sphinx.
Our spirit tones, when we have sung you, become for you material. Now name thyself, till we shall know thee better.
With many names would men my nature fetter. Are Britons here? So round the world they wheeled to stare at battlefields, historic traces, cascades, old walls, and classic dreary places. And here was something worthy of their zeal. Their old plays also testify of me. Men saw me there as old iniquity.
How did they hit on that?
I know not, verily.
Perhaps. Hast thou in star lore any power? What sayest thou of the aspects of the hour?
mephistopheles looking up.
Star shoots on star, the cloven moon doth ride in brilliance. In this place I'm satisfied. I warm myself against thy lion's hide. It were a loss to rise from out these shades. Propose enigmas, or at least charades.
Express thyself, and 'twill a riddle be. Try once thine own analysis, it were merry. To both devout and wicked necessary, to those a breastplate for ascetic fighting, to these boon comrade in their pranks uniting, and both amusing Zeus the fun delighting.
First Gryphon, snarling.
I like him not.
Second Gryphon, snarling more gruffly.
What will a fellow hear? The nasty one is not of us, 'tis dear.
mephistopheles brutally.
Think'st thou, perhaps, thy guest has nails to scratch, that with thy sharper talons cannot match? Just try it once.
Sphinx gently.
Stay shouldst thou find it well, but from our ranks thou wilt thyself expel. In thine own land thou art wont thyself to pamper, yet here, I think, thy spirits feel a damper.
Thine upper part entices, naught is fairer, but further down the beast excites my terror.
Bitter, false one, will be thy expiation, our claws are sound and worthy proof. But thou with withered horse's hoof art ill at ease in our association.
The Sirens prelude above.
On yonder poplars by the river, what are the birds that swing above?
Beware, the very best that ever existed, they have lured to love.
Sirens.
I'll vitiate your senses, where those uglinesses darken. We in crowds come hither hearken, how the accordant strain commences. Meet for sirens' soft pretenses.
Sphinxes mocking them in the same melody.
Let them to descend be bidden, in the branches they have hidden. Hideous falcon claws they're wearing, and you'll feel their cruel tearing, once you lend them willing ear. Banish hate and envy rather, we the purest pleasures gather, under heaven's auspicious sphere. On the earth and on the ocean, we with cheerful beckoning motion bid the wanderer welcome here.
These are of novelties the neatest, where from the throat and harp-strings sweetest the tones around each other twine. They're lost on me, these tinkling trickles, the sound my eardrum pats and tickles, but cannot reach this heart of mine.
Speak not of heart, fool, so to call it. An old and wrinkled leathern wallet would better suit that face of thine.
Faust approaching.
How strange! I, satisfied, behold these creatures, in the repulsive, grand and solid features. A fate propitious I behold advance. Whither transports me now this solemn glance?
Pointing to the Sphinxes.
Once before these took Oedipus his stand.
Pointing to the Sirens.
These made Ulysses write in hempen band.
Pointing to the Ants.
By these the highest treasure was amassed.
Pointing to the Griffins.
By these 'twas held inviolate and fast. Fresh spirit fills me, face to face with these. Grand are the forms, and grand the memories.
Once had thou cursed such crude antiques, but now, it seems, they've comfort given. For when a man his sweetheart seeks, welcome to him are monsters even.
Faust to the Sphinxes.
Ye woman forms, give ear, and say, hath one of you seen Helena?
Before her day our line expired in Greece. Our very last was slain by Hercules. Yet ask of Chiron, if thou please. He gallops round throughout this ghostly night, and if he halt for thee, thy chance is bright.
Thou art not to failure fated, how Ulysses lingering learned us, nor regardless passing spurned us. Manifold hath he narrated, all to thee shall be confided. Seekest thou our meads divided by the dark green arms of ocean?
Let not thyself thus cheated be, not like Ulysses bound, but we will with good counsel thee environ. If thou canst find the noble Chiron, thou'lt learn what I have promised thee.
Faust goes away. Mephistopheles ill-temperedly.
What croaks and flaps of wings go past! One cannot see, they fly so fast, in single file from first to last. A hunter would grow tired of these.
The storm wind like, that winter harrows, reached hardly by Alcides' arrows. They are the swift Stymphalides, and not ill meant their greetings creak, with goose's foot and vulture's beak. They fain would join us in our places, and show themselves as kindred races.
Mephistopheles, as if intimidated.
Some other brute is hissing shrill.
Be not afraid, though harsh the paean. They are the Hydra heads, the old Lernean, cut from the trunk, yet think they're something still. But say, what means your air distressed? Why show your gestures such unrest? Where will you go? Then take your leave. That chorus there, I now perceive, turns like a weathercock your neck. Advance. Greet as you will each lovely countenance. They are the Lamia wenches vile, with brazen brows and lips that smile, such as the satyr folk have found so fair. A cloven foot may venture all things there.
But stay you here, that I again may find you?
Yes, join the airy rabble there behind you. From Egypt we, long since, with all our peers, accustomed were to reign 1,000 years. If for our place your reverence be won, we rule for you the days of moon and sun. We sit before the pyramids, for the judgment of the races, inundation, war, and peace, with eternal changeless faces.
End of Act 2, Scene 3-1. Scene 3-2 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 3, 2. Peneus, surrounded with nymphs and tributary streams.
Stir yourselves, ye whispering rushes, rustle slender willow bushes, sister reeds, breathe softer, crisper, trembling poplar branches, whisper to the interrupted dream. Fearful premonitions wake me, secret shudders thrill and shake me in my rippling, sleeping stream.
Faust, advancing to the river.
Here, behind the vines that dangle, o'er the thicket's bowery tangle, if I heard aright, were noises similar to human voices. Babbling seemed the wave to patter, and the breeze in sport to chatter.
Nymphs to Faust.
For thee were it better to lie here reviving, in coolness thy body, outwearied with striving. The rest that eludes thee to taste and be free, will rustle and murmur, and whisper to thee.
I am awake! Let them delay me, the incomparable forms, and sway me, as yonder to my sight confessed. How strangely am I moved, how nearly! Are they but dreams, or memories merely? Already once was I so blessed, beneath the swaying bushes hiding. The full, fresh waves are softly gliding. They scarcely rustle on their path. 100 founts from all sides hasten to fill a pure and sparkling basin. The hollowed level of a bath, the fair young limbs of woman trouble, the watery glass that makes them double, and doubles, thus, their eyes' delight, in joyous bath each other aiding, or boldly swimming, shyly wading. Then cry, and splash, and foamy fight. It were enough, the picture viewing, my healthy eyesight here renewing. Yet I desire the still unseen. My gaze would pierce through yonder cover, whose leafy wealth is folded over, the vision of the stately queen. Strange! Across the crystal skimming, from the coves the swans are swimming, moving in majestic state, floating calmly and united, but how proud and self-delighted. Head and neck they lift elate. One, his feathers proudly pluming, boldly on his grace presuming, leads the others in the race. With his whitest plumage showing, wave-like on the wave he's throwing, speeds he to the sacred place. The others back and forth together swim on with smoothly shining feather, and soon in mimic battle met shall chase aside the maids affrighted, till, for their own protection slighted, their bounden service they forget.
Sisters, bend and lay the ear on the turf beside the river. Sound of hoofs, if right I hear, swift approaching, seems to shiver. Would I knew whose rapid flight brings a message to the night.
As I think, the earth is ringing, from a charger hither springing. See there! See there! A fortune comes most fair. Shall I attain its blessing? Oh, marvel past expressing! A rider trots towards us free. Spirit and strength in him I see, upon a snow-white steed careering. I know him now. I hail with awe the famous son of Philyra. Halt, Chiron, halt! I've something for thy hearing.
What then? What is it?
Thy course, delay.
I rest not.
Take me with thee then, I pray.
Mount, and I thus can ask at leisure whither thy way. Thou standest on the shore. I'll bear thee through the flood with pleasure.
Faust, mounting.
Whither thou wilt. I thank thee evermore, the mighty man, the pedagogue, whose place and fame it was to teach a hero race, the splendid circle of the Argonauts, and all whose deeds make quick the poet's thoughts.
We will not further speak of these. As mentor, even Pallas is not venerated. And, after all, they manage as they please, as if they'd not been educated.
The leech, who knoweth flower and fruit, whose lore can sound the deepest root, who heals the sick and soothes the wounded place, him, here, in mind and body I embrace.
When heroes, near me, felt the smart, my helpful knowledge failed them seldom, but, at the last, I left mine art to priest and simple gathering bedlam.
Thy speech the true great man betrays, who cannot hear a word of praise. His modesty would fain confound us, to think his equals still were round us.
Thou seemest skilled to feign such matter, people and prince alike to flatter.
But surely thou wilt grant me, that thou the greatest of thy time didst see, upon their paths of proud achievement trod, and lived thy days a serious demigod, among those grand, heroic forms of old, whom didst thou for the best and worthiest hold?
Of those beneath the Argonauts' bright banner, each worthy was in his particular manner, and by the virtue of his strength selective, sufficed therein where others were defective. Castor and Pollux were as victors hailed, where beauty and the grace of youth prevailed. Decision, the swift deed, for others' aid, gave the fair crown before the Boreads laid. Reflective, prudent, strong in counsel wise, so Jason ruled, delight of women's eyes. Then Orpheus, gentle, silent, brooding, lowering, but when he struck the lyre, all overpowering. Sharp-sighted Licinius, who by day and dark through shoreward breakers steered the sacred bark. Danger is best endured where men are brothers. When one achieves, then praise him all the others.
But Hercules, thy speech is wronging.
Ah me! Awaken not my longing. I had not seen, in fields Elysian, how Phoebus, Ares, Hermes shine. But there arose before my vision a form that all men call divine. A king by birth, as ne'er another, a youth magnificent to view, though subject to his elder brother, and to the loveliest women too. No second such has Gaia granted, nor he be led to heaven again. For him the songs are vainly chanted, the marble hewn for him in vain.
Though ever to his form addicted, his grace the sculptors could not wreck, the fairest man hast thou depicted. Now of the fairest woman speak.
What? Little worth is woman's beauty, so oft an image dumb we see. I only praise in loving duty a being bright and full of glee, for beauty in herself delighteth, and irresistibly she smiteth when sweetly she with grace uniteth, like Helena when I bore her.
Her didst thou bear?
This back she pressed.
Was I not wild enough before? And now such seat, to make me blessed.
Just so she grasped me by the hair, as thou dost.
Oh, I scarcely dare to trust my senses. Tell me more. She is my only aspiration. Whence didst thou bear her? To what shore?
Not difficult is the relation. 'Twas then, when came the Dioscuri bold, to free their sister from the robber's hold. But these, accustomed not to be subdued, regained their courage, and in rage pursued. The swamps below Elysius did impede the brothers' and the sisters' flying speed. The brothers waded, splashing through the reed. I swam, and then off she sprang, and pressing me on the wet mane, caressing me, she thanked with sweetly wise and conscious tongue. How charming was she, dear to age, so young.
But 7 years old.
Philologists, I see, even as they cheat themselves, have cheated thee. 'Tis curious, with your mythologic dame, the poet takes her when he needs her name. She grows not old, stays ever young and warm, and of the most enticing form. Seduced in youth, in age enamouring still. Enough, no time can bind the poet's will.
Then let no bonds of time be thrown around her, even as on Pheres' isle Achilles found her, beyond the bounds of time. What blessing rare, in spite of fate, such love to win and wear! And shall not I, by mightiest desire, unto my life that sole fair form acquire, that shape eternal, peer of gods above, tender as grand, sublime as sweet with love? Thou saw'st her once, today I saw her beam, the dream of beauty, beautiful as dream. My soul, my being, now is bound and chained. I cannot live unless she be attained.
Thou, stranger, feel'st as man such ecstasy. Among us spirits, mad thou seem'st to be. Yet, as it haps, thy fortune now is omened, for every year, though only for a moment, it is my wont to call on Manto's dwelling. She, Asclepius' child, whose prayers are swelling unto her father, that his fame to brighten, the brains of doctors he at last enlighten, and them from rashly dealing death may frighten. I like her best of all the guild of Sibyls, helpful and kind, with no fantastic fribbles. She hath the art, if thou the time canst borrow, with roots of power to give thee healing thorough.
But I will not be healed, my aim is mighty. I will not be like others, meanly, flighty.
The noble fountain's cure neglect thou not. But quick dismount, we've reached the spot.
And whither, in this dreary night, hast thou to land through pebbly rivers brought me now?
Here Roman Greece in battle tried their powers. Here flows Peneus, there Olympus towers. The greatest realm that e'er was lost in sand. The monarch flies, the conquering burghers stand. Look up and see, in moonlight shining clear, the memorable eternal temple near.
Manto, dreaming within.
From horse hoofs tremble the sacred steps of the temple. The demigods draw near.
Quite right. Open your eyes and see who's here.
Manto, awakening.
Welcome! Thou dost not fail, I see.
And still thy temple stands for thee.
And speedest thou still unremitting.
And thou in peaceful calm art sitting, while I rejoice in restless heels?
I wait, and time around me wheels. And he?
The vortex of this night hath whirled him hither to thy sight. Helen, with mad, distracted senses, Helen he'd win by all pretences, and knows not how or where the task commences, but he deserves the Aesculapian cure.
To whom the impossible slew, I love.
Chiron is already far away.
Rush on, advance, there's joy for thee. This dark way leads thee to Persephone. Under Olympus' hollow foot, secret she waits prohibited salute. I smuggled Orpheus into her, of old. Use thy chance better, on, be bold.
They descend. End of Act 2, Scene 3-2. Scene 3-3 of Faust Part 2 by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, translated by Bayard Taylor. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 3-3 on the Upper Peneus, as before.
Sirens.
Plunge in cool Peneus' wave. There 'tis well to sport in swimming, songs with chorded voices hymning, that the ill-starred folk we save. Health is none where water fails. Let our hosts with sounding paean hasten to the blue Aegean, where each joy shall swell our sails.
Earthquake.
Back the frothy wave is flowing, now no longer downward going. Shakes the bed, the waters roar, cracks and smokes the stony shore. Let us fly, come every one, by this marvel profit none. Leave, ye guests, this wild commotion, for the cheerful sports of ocean. Shining where the quivering reaches, lightly heaving bathe the beaches. There where Luna's double splendor freshens us with night dews tender. There the freest life delights us. Here the threatening earthquake frights us. Who is prudent? Haste away. Fearful is it here to stay.
Seismos growling and jolting in the depths.
Once again the force applying, bravely with the shoulders prying, we to get above are trying, where to us must all give way.
Sphinxes.
What a most repulsive shaking, terrible and hideous quaking, what a quivering and shocking, hither rolling, thither rocking, what vexation and dismay! But we shall not change our station, we're all hell in agitation. Now behold a dome upswelling, wonderful, 'tis he compelling, he the hoary antiquated, he who Delia's isle created, bidding it from ocean break, for the childed woman's sake. He with all his force expended, rigid arms and shoulders bended, like an Atlas in his gesture, pushes up the earth's green vesture. Loam and grit and sand and shingle, where the shore and river mingle. Thus our valleys blossom quiet, crosswise tears he in his riot. In unwearied force defiant, he, a caryatid giant, bears a fearful weight of boulders, buried still below his shoulders. But no further shall be granted, for the Sphinx's hair are planted.
The work alone I've undertaken, the credit will be given to me. Had I not jolted, shoved, and shaken, how should this world so beauteous be? How stood aloft your mountains ever, in pure and splendid blue of air, had I not heaved with huge endeavour, till they like pictures charm you there? When, where ancestral memory brightens, old night and chaos saw me sore betrayed, and in the company of Titans, with Pelion and Ossa as with balls we played. None could in ardent sport of youth surpass us, until, outwearied at the last, even as a double cap upon Parnassus his summits wickedly we cast. Apollo now upon that mount of wonder finds with the Muses his retreat. For even Jove, and for his bolts of thunder, I heaved and held the lofty seat. Thus have I forced the fierce resistance, and struggled upward from the deep, and summon now to new existence the joyous dwellers of the steep.
'Tis true the hill would seem primeval, and warranted of old stand, had we not witnessed its upheaval, toiling and towering from the land. A bushy forest spreading clothes its face, and rooks on rocks are pressing to their place. A sphinx therefrom is by no fear o'ertaken, we shall not let our sacred seats be shaken.
Griffins.
Golden spangled leaf and spark glimmers through the fishes dark. Quick, lest others should detect it. Haste, ye emmets, and collect it.
Chorus of emmets.
Upward have thrown it, as they, the giant ones, quick-footed, pliant ones. Climb it and own it, rapidly in and out. In each such fissure is every crumb about wealth for the wisher. Seek for them greedily, even the slightest. Everywhere speedily gather the brightest. Diligent be and bold. Swarm to the fountain. Only bring in the gold. Heed not the mountain.
Come in, the treasure heap.
Our claws upon it we shall keep.
The most efficient bolts they are, the greatest wealth they safely bar.
Pygmies.
Verily here we sit securely. How it happened is not clear. Ask not whence we came, for surely 'tis enough that we are here. Unto life's delighted dwelling suitable is every land. Where a rifted rock is swelling, also is the dwarf at hand. Male and female, busy, steady, we as mortals would suffice. Who can tell if such already labored so in paradise? Here our lot as best we measure, and our star of fate is blessed. Mother Earth brings forth with pleasure, in the east as in the west.
Dactyls.
If she in a single night the pygmies brought to light, pygmies of all she'll create yet, and each finds his mate yet.
Pygmy elders.
Be ye in haste, conveniently placed. Labor and lead, strength unto speed. Peace is yet with ye. Build now the smithy. The host be arrayed with armor and blade. Emmets laborious, working victorious, scorning to settle, furnish us metal. Dactyls your host, smallest and most. Hear the requiring. Bring wood for the firing. Heap in the chambers, fuel untiring. Furnish us embers.
Generalissimo.
With arrow and bow encounter the foe. By yonder tanks the heron ranks, the countless nested, the haughty breasted. At one quick blow shoot and bring low, all together that we may feather our helmets so.
Emmets and dactyls.
Who now will save us?
We bring the iron and chains enslave us. To break our fetters, we're now defiant. We bide our season, meanwhile be pliant.
The cranes of Ibycus.
Murder cries and moans of dying. Startled wings that flap and flying. What lament, what pain and fright.
pierces to our airy height. All have fallen in the slaughter, reddening with their blood the water. Pygmy lust, misinformed and cruel, robs the heron of his jewel. On their helms the plumage waves, yonder fat-pouched bow-legged knaves. Comrades of our files of motion, serried wanderers of ocean, you we summon to requital, in a cause to you so vital. Strength and blood, let no one spare. Endless hate to them we swear.
They disperse, croaking in the air. Mephistopheles on the plain.
With ease the northern witches I controlled, but o'er these foreign sprites no power I hold. The Blocksberg is a most convenient place. Howe'er one strays, one can his path retrace. Dame Ilse watches for us from her stone, and Henry sits upon his mountain throne. The snorers snarl at Elend, snorting peers, and all is finished for 1,000 years. But here who knows if, even where he stand, beneath his feet may not puff up the land? I cheerily wander through a level glade, and all at once, behind me heaved, is made a mountain, scarcely to be called so, true. Yet high enough the sphinxes from my view to intercept. Still many a fire flares out adown the vale, the mad concern about. Still dance and hover, beckoning and retreating, the gay groups round me with their knavish greeting, but gently now, for spoiled by stealthy pleasure, one always seeks to snatch some dainty treasure.
Lamier, drawing Mephistopheles after them.
Quicker and quicker, and further take him, then hesitating, chattering and prating. 'Tis fun to make him, old sinful tricker, follow behind us. To penance comes he. With halt-foot clumsy, he marches hobbling, and forwards wobbling. His leg he trails. In haste to find us, we fly. He fails.
Mephistopheles standing still.
Accursed fate! Deceived as oft, since Adam's time seduced and scoffed. Though old we grow, not wisely schooled, enough already I've been fooled. We know how wholly worthless is the race, with body corseted and painted face. Of health responsive own they not a tittle. Where'er one grasps them, every limb is brittle. The thing is known and patent to our glances, and yet, whene'er the trollops pipe, one dances.
Lamier, pausing.
Halt! He reflects, his steps delay. Turn back to meet him, lest he get away.
Mephistopheles striding forwards.
Forwards! The doubt my strength benumbing, I won't encourage foolishly, for were the witches not forthcoming, why, who the devil would devil be?
Lamier, very graciously.
Round the hill lightly moving, let his heart the choice approving, one of us select for loving.
True, in this uncertain lustre, see me fair maids in a cluster, fain would I to you be juster.
Empusa, pressing forwards.
Not me, too? I'm also fitted, in your train to be admitted.
She's one too many, for, in short, she always ruins all our sport.
Empusa to Mephistopheles.
Empusa, with the ass's foot, thy cousin dear gives thee salute. Only a horse's hoof is thine, and yet, sir cousin, greeting fine.
Strangers I hear anticipated, and find, alas, my near related. The old tale, instances by dozens, from Harz to Hellas, always cousins.
I act with promptness and decision, in many forms could meet thy vision, yet in thy honour now instead, have I put on the ass's head.
Great things I see are here portended, thus with the race as kinsmen blended. Let come what may, since I have known her, the ass's head I'd fain disown her.
Leave her, the ugly. She doth scare whatever lovely seems unfair. Whate'er was lovely, fair to see, when she comes, ceases so to be.
These cousins also, soft, delicious, are one and all to me suspicious. I fear beneath their cheeks of roses some metamorphosis reposes.
But try, take hold, for we are many, and if thou hast a lucky penny, secure thyself the highest prize. What means thy wanton organ grinding? A wretched wooer 'tis we're finding, yet swaggest thus, and seems so wise. Now one of us will he lay hand on, so by degrees your masks abandon, and show your natures to his eyes.
The fairest here have I selected.
Clasping her.
Oh, what a broomstick! Unexpected!
Grasping another.
And this one? Vilest countenance!
Think not thou art worth a better chance.
That little one, she warms my gizzard, but through my hand she slips, a lizard, her smooth braids snaky-like entwine. I try the tall one, yet she worse is. I only grasp a Bacchic thyrsus, the head a scaly cone of pine. What follows next? Behold a fat one, perhaps I'll find delight in that one. So once for all the chance renew. The Turks, for one so puffy, flabby, would pay a price by no means shabby. But the puff-ball bursts in two.
Now scatter widely, hovering, feigning, in lightning light, dark flight enchaining the interloping witch's son. Uncertain circles, awful, poiseless, horrid bat-wings, flying noiseless. He escapes too cheaply when it's done.
Mephistopheles shaking himself.
I've not become, it seems, a great deal shrewder. The North's absurd, 'tis here absurder, ruder. The spectres here preposterous as there, people and poets shallow wear. This masquerade resembles quite, as everywhere, a dance of appetite. I sought a lovely masked procession, and caught such things, I stood aghast. I'd give myself a false impression, if this would only longer last.
Losing himself among the rocks.
Where am I then, and whither sped? There was a path, 'tis now a dread. By level ways I've wandered hither, where rubble now is piled together. I clamber up and down in vain, where shall I find my Sphinx again? I had not dreamed so mad a sight. A mountain in a single night, a bold witch journey to my thought, their Blocksberg with them they have brought.
Or read from the Natural Rock.
Come up to me, my mountain old, in its primal force behold. Revere the steep and rocky stairs ascending, where Pindus offshoots with the plain are blending. Unshaken thus I heaved my head, when o'er my shoulders Pompey fled. Beside me this elusive rock will vanish at the crow of cock. I see such fables oft upthrown, and suddenly again go down.
Honour to thee, thou reverend head, with strength of oak engarlanded. The clearest moonlight never cleaves the darkness of your crowded leaves. I see between the bushes go a light, with unpretending glow. How all things fit and balance thus! 'Tis verily homunculus. Now whence thy way, thou little lover?
From place to place I flit and hover, and in the best sense I would fain exist, and most impatient am my glass to shatter. But what till now I've witnessed, is then strange if I mistrust the matter? Yet I'll be confidential if thou list. I follow two philosophers this way. 'Twas nature, nature all, I heard them say. I'll cling to them, and see what they are seeing, for they must understand this earthly being, and I'll doubtless learn in season where to betake me with the soundest reason.
Then do it of thy own accord, for here where spectres from their hell come, is the philosopher also welcome, that so his art and favour delectate you, at once a dozen new ones hell create you. Unless thou errest, thou wilt ne'er have sense. Wouldst thou exist, thyself the work commence.
Good counsel also is not to reject.
Then go thy way, we further will inspect.
They separate. Anaxagoras to Thales.
Thy stubborn mind will not be rightened. What else is needful that thou be enlightened?
To every wind the billows yielding are,
Yet from the cliff abrupt they keep themselves afar.
By fiery vapors rose the rock you're seeing.
In moisture came organic life to being.
Homunculus, between the two.
To walk with you may I aspire? To come to being is my keen desire.
Hast thou, Talus, ever in a night brought forth from mud such mountain to the light?
Nature, the living current of her powers, was never bound to day and night and hours. She makes each form by rules that never fail, and it is not force, even on a mighty scale.
But here it was, plutonic fire, the shaper. Explosive force of huge aeolian vapor broke through the level earth's old crust primeval, and raised the new hill with a swift upheaval.
What further shall their form result? The hill is there, it is well, so let it stand there still. In such a strife one loses leisure precious, yet only leads the patient folk in leashes.
The mountain's rocky clefts at once are peopled thick with myrmidons, with pygmies, emmets, fingerlings, and other active little things.
To Homunculus.
To greatness hast thou ne'er aspired, but lived an eremite retired. Canst thou persuade thy mind to govern? I'll have thee chosen as their sovereign.
What says my Thales?
Will not recommend, for small means only unto small deeds tend, but great means make the small man great. See there, the cranes, with purpose heinous, the troubled populace they menace, and they would menace thus the king, with pointed beaks and talons ample, the little men they pierce and trample. Doom comes already thundering, it was a crime, the heron slaughter, beset amid their peaceful water, but from that rain of arrows deadly, a fell revenge arises redly, and calls the kindred o'er the flood to spill the pygmy's guilty blood. What use for shield and helm and spear, or for the dwarfs the heron feather? Dactyl and emmet hide together, their cohorts scatter, seek the rear.
Anaxagoras, after a pause, solemnly.
Though I the subterranean powers approve, yet help, in this case, must be sought above. Thou aloft, in grace and vigour vernal, tri-named, tri-featured, and eternal, by all my people's woe I cry to thee, Diana, Luna, Hecate, thou breast-expanding one, thou deeply pondering, thou calmly shining one, majestic wandering. The fearful craters of thy shade unseal, and free from spells thine ancient might reveal.
Pause.
Am I too swiftly heard? Has then my cry to yonder sky the course of nature from its orbit stirred? And greater, ever greater, drawing near, behold the goddess's orbed throne appear, enormous, fearful in its grimness, with fires that redden through the dimness. No nearer, disk of dread tremendous, lest thou, with land and sea, to ruin send us. Then were it true, Thessalian Pythonesses, with guilty spells, as song confesses, once from thy path thy steps enchanted, till fatal gifts by thee were granted. The shield of splendour slowly darkles, then suddenly splits, and shines, and sparkles. What rattling and what hissing follow, with roar of winds and thunders hollow! Before thy throne I speak my error. O pardon, I invoked the terror.
Casts himself upon his fate.
How many things can this man see and hear? What happed is not to me entirely clear. I've not, like him, experienced it. The hours are crazy, we'll admit, for Luna calmly shines and free in her high place as formerly.
Look yonder where the pygmies fled, the round hill has a pointed head. I felt a huge rebound and shock, down from the moon had fallen a rock, and then, without the least ado, both foe and friend it smashed and slew. I praise such arts as these that show creation in a night fulfilled, that from above and from below at once this mountain pile could build.
Be still, 'twas but imagined so. Farewell then to the ugly brood. That thou wast not their king is good. Off to the cheerful festals of the sea. There, as a marvellous guest, they'll honour thee.
They depart. Mephistopheles, climbing up the opposite side.
Here must I climb by steep and rocky stairways and roots of ancient oaks, the vilest rare ways. Upon my hearts the resinous atmosphere gives hint of pitch, to me almost as dear as sulphur is. But here among these Greeks, for such a smell one long and vainly seeks. And curious am I, for 'tis worth the knowing, to find wherewith they keep their fires of hell a-going.
Dryad.
At home be wise as it befits thee there. Abroad thou hast no cleverness to spare. Thou shouldest not homeward turn thy mind, but here the honour of the ancient oaks revere.
One thinks on all relinquished there. Use made it paradise, and keeps it fair. But say, what is't, in yonder cave obscure, a crouching triple shape resembling?
The Phorkyads. Go there if thou art brave. Address them, if thou canst, untrembling.
Why not? I something see, and am dumbfounded. Proud as I am, I must confess the truth. I've never seen their like, in sooth. Worse than our hags, an ugliness unbounded. How can the deadly sins then ever be found ugly in the least degree, when one this triple dread shall see? We would not suffer them to dwell, even at the dreariest door of hell. But here, in beauty's land, the Greek, they're famed, because they're called antique. They stir, they seem to scent my coming. Like vampire bats, they're squeaking, twittering, humming.
The Phorkyads.
Give me the eye, my sisters, that it spy, who to our temple ventures now so nigh.
Most honoured dame, approaching, by your leave, grant that your triple blessing I receive. I come, though still unknown, yet, be it stated, if I mistake not, distantly related. Old reverend gods already did I see, to Ops and Rhea have I bowed the knee. The Parcae even, your sisters, yesterday, or day before, they came across my way. And yet the like of you ne'er met my sight. Silent am I, and ravished with delight.
This spirit seems to have intelligence.
I am amazed no poet has the sense to sing your praises. Say, how can it be that we no pictures of your beauty see? Should not, through you, the chisel strive to wean us from shapes like those of Juno, Pallas, Venus?
Sunken in solitude and stillest night, the mind of us ne'er took so far a flight.
How should it then, since here, concealed from view, none ever see you, none are seen by you? But choose those dwelling places, and be known, where art and splendour share an equal throne, where swift, with double tread, day after day, a marble block as hero walks away, where
cease, and rouse in us no longer vision. What profit if we knew them with precision? We, born in night, akin to gloom alone, unto ourselves almost, to others quite unknown.
In such a case there's little more to say, but one one's self to others can convey. One eye supplies you three, one tooth as well. So were it mythologically possible in two the being of the three to cover, and unto me the third fair form make over, a short time only.
Will it do, forsooth?
We'll try it, but without or eye or tooth.
Now just the best thing have you taken away. How shall I then the image stem display?
'Tis easily done. Just close one eye, and let thy one side tusk be seen thereby. In profile, thus, with not a trait diminished, thy sisterly resemblance will be finished.
So be it then.
So be it.
Mephistopheles as Phorkyad in profile.
Me behold, the much beloved son of Chaos old.
Daughters of Chaos are we, by good right.
Disgrace, they'll call me now Hermaphrodite.
In our new sister Triad, what a beauty! 2 eyes have we, 2 teeth for further duty.
Now from all eyes I'll hide this visage fell, to fright the devils in the pool of hell.
Exit. End of Act 2, Scene 3-3.